So you're saying that this was available to us this whole time? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is MahfuzVanGogh, your dredge guy, and today we are back to Modern. Yeah, that's right, this is Sultai Modern Dredge, and for the first time I will play Ideas Unbound. This is a new idea that I had yesterday, and let me know here in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe this will be a first time in Modern Dredge, play Ideas Unbound instead of other turn 2 enablers. And I believe this is a great addition to our deck, since all of our 18 lands can produce blue mana, or in the case of fetch lands, go after blue mana, of course. And this is because after playing 4 leagues with Sultai Dredge in Modern, with Cephalic Coliseum, I have this strong feeling that we will not always want to crack Cephalic Coliseum on turn 2. Because sometimes we have a Shriekhorn or Autolic Gaze or Tom Scour on turn 1, and on turn 2 we'll only get a Life from the Loam and have more lands because we don't have Cephalic Coliseum yet. And then I just had this idea, well, let's have something else to do on our turn 2, because we will not always have access to Cephalic Coliseum. And even if we have access to Cephalic Coliseum, but sometimes we don't have other lands in play, so we'll have only 2 lands for the entire game. If you crack Cephalic Coliseum on turn 2, then you just have natural dredging until the end of the game, and this is not fast enough to win modern games of Magic, I believe. So I'm including 3 copies so far, and if this gives us a good result today, I see myself going up to 4, at least in the Sultai build. Of course, Grixis builds will have other enablers, or 4-color builds will have other enablers like Cathartic Reunion, but I think this is probably our best turn 2 enabler, and I'm not sure if this so played in the past. Let me know if you know something about the modern gameplay of the last 10 years. So, and about our sideboarding. I will test Flare of Denial after my, well, this is a small sample, of course. I played only 4 leagues, 4 modern leagues, but I had so many opportunities to cast a counterspell, some sweet spots to cast a counterspell, because usually we have an Arcomoeba or a Prized Amalgam after 1 or 2 turns. And in Modern, we almost always, when we have a counterspell, we want to counter something on turn 3, and sometimes even on turn 2. So having access to blue counterspells here is great. And since now we have more aggression with Silver Smooth Go instead of Bloodghasts, because those cards are 3/1 creatures and not 2/1. So I think we can be more defensive if we need to, and then just going for the truth on the right time. I'm not sure. This will be a test. Gemstone Caverns are great, and I will include at least 3 on my sideboard. And this is pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this gameplay. Let's start this Modern League right now. Click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment if you know something that I don't know. I really think this will be a first time for Ideas Unbound in Modern Dredge. So let's see how this deck will perform. Let's go right now. And guess what? Now I'm a Mana Trader's Ambassador, and you can subscribe to them with a 10% off on your first 2 months. Just add the coupon code at checkout. It's just the best way to play and test a variety of decks in every MTG format you can think of. Now, back to the games. Okay, we are on the play. And this hand, well, this is something that I just told you at the intro. We have 2 lands, which is good. We have 2 turn 1 activations, but we don't have any turn 2 thing. Of course, I will mulligan this hand because we will have a greater moves to 6 or even 5, but this would be a great mulligan to 4. Let's try something better. Let's go to 6. Okay, we have Ideas Unbound for the first time. But no turn 1 things to do. We have Life from the Loam to just take back our lands. This is a slow hand. Well, I will keep it because I want to test Ideas Unbound. I don't think this is the best configuration, of course, but I will keep it. I will put Go back and keep both loans, I guess, and that's it. I just want to test this card. Maybe this is not a keep. Maybe we have better 5s. But let's try this. At least we have 2 lands. So let's play Polluted Delta and pass. The addition of Ideas Unbound makes me think about including at least 1 Surveil land. Maybe this is good. Something that I'm thinking just now. Well, I'm testing this for the first time. Okay, Halfling. This is maybe a 4-color deck. So let's crack this. We don't have a Surveil land, but let's take a Breeding Pool tapped. And let's go to our turn 2. We draw. Okay, Autolic Gaze is good. But I think we'll just crack our Polluted Delta and take Water Grave, I will pay 2 life, and let's take our lands back with loan. And then on turn 3, we can cast Otherworldly Gaze and Ideas Unbound. Having more enablers also help you to have more lands, more capable hands, I mean. Okay, my opponent will have a turn 3 spell. Okay, Nadu. We really want a Cephalic Coliseum now. So, well, we need to dredge here, so let's dredge. Yeah. And if my opponent have the combo, if my opponent has the combo, we will lose. I don't think we'll have ways to get back from it. So let's hope that my opponent don't have the combo, and I will take a basic island here. Well, if my opponent will win by the combo, I don't need to be afraid of having my lands here, even if they cause me damage, right? So I will take a Breeding Pool, I will pay 2 life, and now I will cast Otherworldly Gaze first. And the idea behind it is to just include more dredgers before casting Ideas Unbound. So I'll have more dredging, guarantee. So Creeping Chill, yes, I would like to use it. And then I will cast my first Ideas Unbound ever. So we'll dredge 4, and we'll dredge 3, and that's it, yeah. So now what? We still don't have a Coliseum in our graveyard. So yeah, that's it. I don't need to discard anything right now. I can discard something just at the end of the turn. And I will discard 3 cards first, before this trigger from Amalgams. This is because I want this Pressed Amalgam to come back after that. So let's discard 2 Dredgers and our Pressed Amalgam. And now I'll have an extra creature next turn. I will pass the turn here. My opponent is thinking, so maybe they don't have the combo yet. And if they don't, we will attack for 10 damage plus Creeping Chill. So we have lethal if we find just another Creeping Chill. This is already lethal. Okay, my opponent is going to kill us right now. And Cephalic Coliseum would be really good against this deck, because this is similar to playing against a Cephalic Breakfast in Legacy, right? Because we can just hold Cephalic Breakfast to... Okay, I'll just press F6 here. My opponent will go for the combo. This is something similar to playing against Cephalic Breakfast in Legacy. You just hold your Cephalic Coliseum open. Oh, what is happening? Oh, my opponent didn't go for the combo. Okay, they don't have. They just cast Fair Summon Respect. So next turn my opponent needs to pay 4 mana. It means that they will not block with Delighted Halfling. So we can still win this. Let's dredge 4. Okay, just an Arcomoeba. Alright. And it's still no Cephalic Coliseum. Let's attack first. Let's attack with everyone. Let's see how my opponent will block here. Just a Pressed Amalgam. Okay. Now, I could cast double Life from the Lawn here, but I think I will just cast my Creeping Chill so my opponent cannot fetch any more lands this game. So let's cast Creeping Chill from our hand. And now my opponent is on just 1 life. And we have more than lethal for next turn. My opponent needs to pay 4 mana here. And they cannot crack a single fetch land. Let's just press F6. Let's see if my opponent have the combination of combo card plus basic land. They don't, and we won our first game. That's great. Great news. Now we will be on the draw, so let's include the 3 Gemstone Caverns. My opponent will probably have Endurance, so let's include Grief. Flare of Denial is also a consideration. This is my first time sideboarding with this build, so let's think about it. I will always take 1 Ghoul, 1 Shriekhorn, and 3 lands. I don't think we need basics in this matchup, so let's take 1, 2, 3 lands. Okay, I'm not sure if we need Flare here, because this is a combo deck, but this is a slow combo deck, so maybe Grief is already enough. Okay, we need to take 4 more cards here. 1, 2. Is Creeping Chill really important to win this game? I think it is, because now we have Ghouls, so I will not take Creeping Chill. I can maybe take 1 Arcomoeba. We are on the draw now, so maybe I take 1 Ideas Unbound, 1 Arcomoeba, and that's it. Yeah, I don't want to be too defensive, including for Grief and for Flare. Maybe it's one or the other. And since my opponent plays with Endurance, I believe my opponent plays with Endurance, so I need Grief or Flare. Maybe Flare is better when we are on the play, because... Okay, this is a good example when you have Gemstone Caverns, but we don't have anything to do it, so this is a mulligan. My opponent is also having their mulligan. Oh, this feels good, right? Because we have double Scour and Coliseum. My opponent kept 6. So I will keep it. I don't like it, but I will keep it. And let's put chill back. I don't like it because I have a useless Narcomoeba in my hand, but we cannot go mulligan in this hand, I believe. We have a solid game plan here. This is, of course, a mulligan to 4, right? Because we don't want this Golgari Thug or this Narcomoeba. So this is a mulligan to 4, essentially, but it's a good one. So we are risking this going to 5, maybe going to a bad 5, or we guarantee a great 4. So that's my opinion about mulligans. Okay, my opponent has a Temple Garden and a Halfling. Now it's our turn. Now we have a Gemstone Caverns, alright. Not a good timing. This would be great, exiling Narcomoeba or Thug and going double Thumbscour on turn 1. So let's crack Polluted Delta. Let's guarantee our breeding pool. Yeah. And Thumbscour, target player. Me. Our first Creeping Chill, and we have a Dredger. And we have a Cephalic Elysium for the future. We just need those loans. Even Gemstone Caverns here is a good draw because, well, is our third mana, and then we can just start loan. Casting Loan. Okay, my opponent has a Wall of Roots and another land. And the Maze. And a Sylvan Safekeeper. Alright. Maybe my opponent has the combo in hand. So I will do what I told you at the intro. Oh, and we'll have a creature back here. I'll just hold Cephalic Elysium open, threatening my opponent. Maybe they have Endurance. No? Okay. Now I'll play Cephalic Elysium and pass the turn. And we'll have an attacker soon. My opponent will not do anything. Any move? Okay, so maybe they have an Endurance to cast, because these are 3 mana. So let's take life from the loan to press the Amalgams. Okay, let's start playing Gemstone Caverns, and then... Okay, if I do that, I cannot crack Cephalic Elysium, now that I am seeing that. My opponent cannot fly here, right? Cannot block my flyer. So let's attack with our Narcomoeba first. Let's see how my opponent will respond. No Endurances? Okay. So I will cast Loam, targeting you, you, and you. Let's see, my opponent will respond to that. Okay, they have Endurance, I know it. But now we will still have a Dredger after that. And now I will cast Thumbscour to rebuild our graveyard. Alright, so many Coliseums for the future, unless my opponent has the win this turn. Urza Saga is a good tutor. Another Endurance. Okay, now this is good. 2 Endurances. Now I need to top deck. But my opponent is not threatening much here, so no worries. We draw, not a good card. We cannot cast anything here because these caverns will not produce black mana, so we will just pass the turn. Actually, I can cast Narcomoeba, right? I can cast an Narcomoeba, why not? We are not threatening our Coliseum anymore, so let's cast Narcomoeba and pass the turn. If my opponent attacks me with double Endurance, I will attack with double Narcomoeba. Now what? White mana? Alright. Another combo piece. Oh, they have Chord of Calling. Alright. So they will win next turn unless we can do something about it. Or they can win this turn because of Outrider and Core, of course. No, just lands. And my opponent can repeat this twice to each one of their creatures. And they will draw a card or put a land into the battlefield for each one of those activations. How many Endurances my opponent can have? 3? Maybe 4? And my opponent found Snubble and Halfling. And another chord, x equals to 2. Okay, they found Nantuko. And some minutes later, my opponent mills almost their entire deck and casts Thassa's Oracle for the win. And this is it. We could have the win against them, against their combo, if my opponent didn't have double Endurance. Now let's sideboard again. Now on the play, I will try Flare instead of Grief. And we can take Caverns to include 3 regular lands. And that's it. Yes, I would like to play first. No lands, no keep. This is a good combination though, but no lands. Alright, we have Flare. We have Scour. We have a single land. This is a mulligan. Okay, this is our best hand so far. We'll definitely keep this, keeping all the lands and Otherworldly Gaze. But this is really beatable if my opponent has a single Endurance. So this Otherworldly Gaze will be crucial to win the game. Let's crack Misty for, well, we already have everything, right? So let's take a Breeding Pool. Yes. I'm not sure, I don't think my opponent has counterspells, so, but everything is possible. So let's play around Force of Negation here, since we can. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze right now. Okay, we have Dredgers and a Scour. So let's put Dredger, Dredger, and keep Scour to rebuild after a single endurance. My opponent plays Misty and Pass. This is so slow that suggests that my opponent has something else, like the full combo or endurance, or both. Now we will still keep our intentions with us. Let's not reveal that we have Cephalic Coliseum yet. Let's just pass a turn with the intention of casting Otherworldly Gaze with Flashback. And maybe it is wiser to do this on my main step, because we have goals and everything else. But I'm not trying to win yet. I'm still trying to not lose the game. So I will wait a little bit more. My opponent plays Temple Garden. Tapped. Alright, so let's go to the second main phase. And now we will crack Otherworldly Gaze. Creeping Chill and press the Amalgam. Let's put everything into our graveyard. Yes, please. Now it's our turn again. We draw. No, we'll Flashback Life from the Loam. Flashback, no, I'm sorry. We'll Dredge Life from the Loam. We have another Creeping Chill. Yes. And now, let's try to Loam here, taking lands. My opponent don't know that we have other lands in our hand. Let's see if this is enough to force them to... We have 2 Press Amalgams here, after all. Maybe this is enough for an Endurance. Yeah, they are thinking about it. Now they saw Flare, but we don't have a blue creature. 2 blue creatures are in our graveyard. This is a juicy moment to cast your first Endurance opponent. Let's go, let's go! Okay, we have our 3 Misties back. And let's play 1 and pass the turn. My opponent plays a 3rd land and Nadu. Okay. So now we cannot play around Endurance anymore, right? Because they can have the combo here. So let's crack Misty for a tapped Water Grave. And then we will Dredge Loam. Okay, let's Dredge. Okay, now we have Otherworldly Gaze and we have other stuff. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze here and see how my opponent will respond. Just other Dredgers and another Thumb Scour. So let's put this and this into our graveyard. And let's skip Scour. Let's play Cephalic Coliseum and pass a turn. Let's see if they have the win. I mean the combo. I do think they have Endurance. I don't think this is enough to keep, even on 6. They attack me with Nadu. That's it? Yeah, they absolutely have Endurance. So let's draw here. And let's play... Now what we should play here? We don't have much to fetch right now. We still have fetchable lands. So let's fetch first. Let's take our basic island here. And let's crack. Let's fetch. Let's cast. Let's see if my opponent will cast their first Endurance. Okay, not so much here, unfortunately. Now we cast Life from the Loam, taking 3 lands. Alright. We are... Okay, now it's time for Endurance. Yes, please. Cast it. And now my opponent has an opportunity to win. This is their window. They don't have the win yet. Maybe they have several Endurances in their hand. Okay, they have an Untuko and pass a turn. Okay, so it's now or never. We draw Ideas Unbound. This is a great draw. So we don't have fetchable lands anymore, so we will not play Misty here. Let's just cast Thumb Scour. Okay, Creeping Chill is great. And now we'll cast Ideas Unbound. Let's pay you and you. We'll Dredge 4 and 3, and that's it. And we have 2 gazes. This ghoul will come back. No Endurances for my opponent, which is good. There is no point to play this untapped. So let's just play Breeding Pool tapped. And I will pass a turn with the intention of casting Otherworldly Gaze on their end step if they don't go for the win. We'll need to discard 3 cards. Considering that my opponent can have Endurance, I should order this differently, but that's fine. Let's discard 1 land. Well, I don't think they have anything, right? So let's discard all of our Dredgers. Yeah, and now we have some creatures to maybe win the game soon. And now my opponent needs to go fast here because we are threatening lethal damage. We only need a single. Okay, they have Calling. We need a single Creeping Chill. So Court of Calling. Okay, now they have the combo. They can cast an Endurance targeting us. Let's always yield to those effects. Let's see if they will pay attention to my interaction with Cephalic Coliseum. Another possibility is that we can crack Cephalic Coliseum trying to find a Flare of Denial to counter something if we feel the need to. Since this will be long, I will cut this on the addition to the end of their combo and let's see what will happen. Okay, this is it. My opponent is casting Thassa's Oracle with 1.5 minutes on their clock. If I crack Cephalic Elysium targeting them, my opponent will probably just cast Endurance, because they have one, to put Thassa's Oracle and shuffle 5 cards in their deck again, and just repeat to win probably next turn, because they have only these Gemstone Caverns don't have a luck counter, so next turn they can win again. If I crack Cephalic Elysium trying to hit a Flare of Denial to counter it, it is more or less the same thing, right? So let's see if my opponent will notice that they can cast Endurance to do this. Oh, they didn't. Oh, they didn't notice. They didn't play around it. They just draw 3 and they will lose. All right, we'll take it. Okay, we won. Yeah, this is maybe cheesy, but my opponent needs to be careful if they want to win with a super long combo game like this. We won. We won the match. Let's go to our second match. Well, something happened when I was editing the round 2 video, and I lost the file. So I will record my commentary above the replay of this match using the tool available in Magic Online. So we lost the die roll against our second round opponent, but this is a great starting hand. We have 2 lands, 2 Ideas Unbound, and 2 turn 1 enablers, and even a Dredger, our best Dredger to have in our starting hand. So maybe this is like I don't know, the dream hand. Of course, we want a Cephalic Elysium, but this is really solid. So let's start the game. My opponent starts playing a forest, and this immediately turns me in a confused mindset, because I'm new to Modern. This is my 5th league, and this is my first time playing against someone with no turn 1 mana dork or something, but a basic forest. So I'm not sure what my opponent is playing. We draw Prized Amalgam, and I'll crack a Misty Rainforest and play Tomscour, casting Tomscour, and this is great. We already have 2 Dredgers and 1 goal, and even Otherworldly Gaze. So far, so good. Now it's my opponent's turn, and they play Ugin's Labyrinth, Exciting, and Eldrazi. Oh, okay, this is a green Eldrazi deck, maybe mono green, and this is my first time playing against this new build of Eldrazi, and I am being honest here. I'm not searching for decks while I'm playing, so I want to have this fresh feeling of playing against the new decks. This is something that I like, I enjoy as a player. So I'm not sure about what kind of creatures and spells my opponent will play against me. But they don't do anything else. So okay, this is a relief, but also scary. I'm not sure what scary Eldrazi my opponent can deploy next turn. So let's try to be fast here. We dredged Extinct Imp, and now we have a Prized Amalgam and a Ghoul, but unfortunately only 1 Dredger. And in this situation we can cast Ideas Unbound to trying to be fast here, but maybe this single Golgari Thug will not chain 2 other Dredgers, or we can cast Life from the Loam, taking some lands and then preparing for next turn, probably cracking Cephalic Elysium and activating Shriekhorn. Since I am slightly scared about what my opponent can do, I went to the Ideas Unbound route, but unfortunately we couldn't chain our Dredgers, but we have good things to do next turn. We have an Otherworldly Gaze, Shriekhorn, Ideas Unbound, Life from the Loam, and we can end our turn 3 with 3 lands, and life feels good from there. My opponent plays Cavern of Souls, naming Eldrazi, so this is definitely an Eldrazi deck, and they play Thought-Knot Seer. So yeah, my second Ideas Unbound will probably be my opponent's choice, because it is my best card in my hand. But we have things to do, and we have Dredgers, so I'll dredge 5, and now we'll have some creatures at the end of this turn. Now what? I can cast Shriekhorn and Otherworldly Gaze, trying to be fast, or I can cast Life from the Loam, taking some lands back from my graveyard, and this seems better, right? Because we already have many things to do. And this was probably a punt from me, because I should play Cephalic Elysium instead of Basic Island here. But I played a Basic Island because I was feeling well. Maybe my opponent will attack me with haste creatures. I'm not sure what else they have. I don't know this build. So I tried to, okay, let's not cause some damage to my own lands. But this was obviously a punt, because next turn I could have double Cephalic Elysium and mill my entire deck on turn 4. But even with that mistake, we are probably fine here. We have many creatures. And then we pass the turn and my opponent concedes. So yeah, this was a fast game. Modern is fast, and our deck, even with this Thought Not Seer robbing us, taking was one of our best cards, we managed to win the game, even without activating a single Cephalic Coliseum. This is important to know this. And Ideas Unbound worked as a solid turn 2 play. And we have many other enablers, so our deck worked just fine. So let's go to our second game. I did sideboard for this game. I took out our 4 Shriekhorns because I expect maybe Karn the Great Creator from a Tron deck or a Eldrazi Tron deck. I'm not sure if they are playing this nowadays. But I took our artifact enablers since they are our weakest enabler. And some of our threats and enablers to include the full playset of Grief and Flare of Denial. First thing, of course, this is maybe over sideboarding, but I want to test both cards in this build, especially Flare of Denial. I'm not sure if this is a good card or not. And we won our first game. We are on the draw. Our opponent plays a scary deck. Maybe they have some scary sideboard cards. And I took this route just to over sideboarding, having 8 control spells against my opponent's deck. Let's see if we can find at least one of them. So my first hand is unfortunately a mulligan. We have double Cephalic Coliseum and Ideas Unbound, but this Life from the Loam is uncastable, and we have 3 cards that we definitely don't want in our starting hand: double Narcomoeba and a Creeping Chill. So let's mulligan. Our second hand is almost, oh, it was kind of fast, but it was almost good. We had a Flare of Denial, but we had no solid plan. But this is better. We have 2 lands and 3 turn 1 enablers. We have Cephalic Coliseum. We can just put the double dredgers back to the deck and shuffle them back with our fetch land. So this is good. We'll keep this starting 5. We have no sideboard cards, but that's okay. That seems good enough. And my opponent starts playing Eldrazi Temple and passing the turn. So not a fast start from my opponent. That's good. We draw a Dredger, not our best draw, but that's fine. We'll crack Misty for Breeding Pool. And our Thumbscour reveals Creeping Chill and Appraised Amalgam. Unfortunately, no Dredgers yet. Now it's my opponent's turn, and they play Ugin's Labyrinth, exiting a Worldbreaker. And this was the moment that I think I could have played better from this point, because I didn't pay attention to which card was exiled on Ugin's Labyrinth. I was kind of distracted here at this point, probably just thinking on my own game plan. This shows me that my opponent can have Mana Denial, or maybe a Prison strategy, because maybe this is only 2 copies in my opponent's deck, but I didn't pay enough attention here, and this will make a huge difference in this game, because now my opponent plays Trinisphere, and I don't have 3 lands, so I need to draw extra lands. I play my Cephalic Coliseum and pass the turn. My opponent plays Thought Not Seer, like in the first game, and here I was thinking, well, maybe my opponent will take one of my enablers, right? Or maybe Grief if they want to protect their hand. But they did a weird choice, in my opinion, taking my Dredger. But of course, traditional Dredge decks in Modern will have spells that discard cards from your hand and then draw cards, like Cathartic Reunion. But this is not the case for Sultai Dredge. So maybe it's just the mindset of a Modern player used to play against red Dredge decks that have red remaging spells, and this is not the case for this deck. So yeah, now it's our turn. We want to draw a land. We didn't find it, so Life from the Loam it is, and we pass the turn. My opponent attacked me with Thought Not Seer, and that's it. So maybe my opponent also need more lands. And I finally found my 3rd land, and this is the moment that I see that I have 2 different roads, 2 different paths. I can try to be fast here, just casting Thumbscour. I can cast a single card this turn, a single spell. So Thumbscour will put will mill more 5 cards from my deck, and maybe this will find me Dredgers. And next turn I can activate Cephalic Coliseum. Maybe I don't need to have 3 lands from now on. If I manage to find something, I already have a Appraised Amalgam, and my opponent seems to be having their own troubles with mana. So maybe this is good. But I also have a slower road, just casting Life from the Loam, guarantee that I will have more lands. I will have 3 more lands in my graveyard, and guarantee that I will put at least 1 Dredger for next turn. This is slower, but maybe more reliable. I chose the fastest route, going for Tom Scour. Let's see if this will pay off. So after casting Tom Scour, I didn't find any Dredger, and now I'm in trouble because my opponent will attack me dealing more for more damage, and now they found another land, a green land. They play Monadork, Fanatic of Ronas, and this is scary because now they can tap this for 4 mana, 4 green mana, because they have a Thought-Knot Seer, a 4 power creature. So it's my turn. I will try to cast Otherworldly Gaze in my upkeep, and I found a Dredger and an Narcomoeba, so yeah, good news. This Narcomoeba enters the battlefield, so both Prized Amalgam will enter at the end of the turn, and we even have another Creeping Chill, but no goes. And now those Prized Amalgams come back, but my opponent will have much more mana than me, and now they play a card that I already knew from Modern Horizons drafts. This card can exile one of my lands, and this will definitely put me behind. I can attack, of course, but I don't have good attacks here. Thought-Knot Seer would just kill one of my creatures. I need one more land, and then my opponent casts their own Worldbreaker, and now I'm totally off from this game. So I probably should just cast Life from the Loam, going for the slow route, choosing the slow route, and guaranteeing that I would have more lands. I'm not sure if this would be a win. Maybe it would also be a loss, but I would have more chances than just trying to hit my Dredgers as soon as possible. So here's a lesson to be learned. Now let's go to our game 3. And now we are on the play, so I sided out my Flare of Denial package and kept my Grief as some cards that I probably would like to have in my starting hand. So let's see our starting hand. This seems great. This seems a lot like a Legacy starting hand. We have Grief, we have a turn 1 Enabler, turn 2 Enabler, and even Cephalic Coliseum. So this seems pretty solid considering that we are playing Modern. So I start with Breeding Pool, and then casting Grief, exiling my Dredger. And here is interesting. What would we choose from this opponent's hand? Wumpus Aberration is a 6/6 trample for 4. It is scary, but we can probably raise this or have some enablers. My opponent has a single forest, 2 Ugin's Labyrinth, and they have Worldbreaker is a scary card, is the single card that they can exile to Ugin's Labyrinth, now at least. 6 is scary because it represents a card advantage for my opponent. They can have more lands, and they definitely need more lands here. And Fanatic of Ronas is a Monadork, but they need a card with power 4, and this is their creature with power 4 or more. So I chose 6 because I think if my opponent have just a turn 2 Fanatic of Ronas, turn 3 Wumpus Aberration, this is probably a winnable matchup, a winnable game. But if they play a turn 2 6 and maybe turn 3 Worldbreaker, I'm not sure. So this is definitely worse. So I took 6 from their hand. But what would you do? And my Otherworldly Gaze is fine. We found our Dredger, and I decided to keep my basic island on top. So I have Ideas Unbound on turn 2 and then a Cephalic Coliseum on turn 3. So this seems good so far. My opponent plays Ugin's Labyrinth, and they exile Worldbreaker. So this now represents 2 mana next turn. And we will not dredge, we will draw our basic island and cast Ideas Unbound. Now we need to chain dredgers, and we managed to do it. Now we have more dredgers. I will discard those 3 dredgers at the end of our turn, of course. And we have Life from the Loam, we have a Go, we have many dredgers, so this Cephalic Coliseum will be good next turn. And now we pass the turn, we discard our cards. So far Ideas Unbound seems an amazing addition in this deck, and my opponent plays Forest and 6. So I was probably right taking 6 from my opponent's hand, because this was their choice between going for Fanatic of Ronas, maybe another card that they can have in their hand, but they chose their new 6. Yeah, let's see if we can raise the 6. Now it's our turn. We will dredge 5. Oh no, I'm sorry. I chose to dredge 3 with Life from the Loam, because my plan here is casting Life from the Loam and then having double Cephalic Coliseum next turn. I feel like we are probably ahead this game, being on the play, and I chose this. I will play Cephalic Coliseum, and this is something that I learned from my previous game, from my first game against this opponent, when I played a basic island on turn 3, and I instantly noticed that I should play a Cephalic Elysium, because sometimes we just are used to some play patterns, right? Here, for example, I can think, oh, maybe I will just play Watergrave tapped, so I can have, I will not spend any more mana this turn. But if I play Cephalic Elysium, and since I have 2 because I cast a Life from the Loam, next turn I will have double Cephalic Elysium, and I will probably mill my entire deck on turn 4. So this seems really solid. And now it's my opponent's turn. They will probably attack me with 6, yeah? And they will find, okay, an Eldrazi Temple. This is a scary card. Maybe my opponent has not only Wumpus, a 6/6 trample, or maybe they have something scarier than that. Thought-Knot Seer is usually a scary card, but in this case my opponent can take my Narcomoeba. I don't care. I definitely don't care. And now it's our turn. We will dredge 5. And I will attack with my Narcomoeba first, because we will not have hasty creatures. I doubt that my opponent will have something that costs a single green mana, but we'll never know. And then after attacking, I will crack both Cephalic Elysiums. And this is something that only these new builds of Dredge in Modern with Cephalic Elysium can do. If we have 2 Cephalic Elysiums on turn 4, and this is something that I feel that this build, this Sultai build, will do better than others, because we really have a game plan focused on returning Cephalic Elysiums. And then we can now, with those triggers on the stack, activate our second Cephalic Elysium. And this is a strong, strong, strong play, because now every creature will be brought back from our graveyard at the end of the turn. Of course, I needed to dredge 3 instead of 5 to have 2 more cards to draw and not mill myself out from this game. And now this is turn 4, and see this Billy. And my opponent just concedes because they know that they will have a single blocker, a single extra blocker, and they will lose the game next turn. GG's. So far, this deck seems really good. I like the interaction between our new tools, and having double Cephalic Elysium on turn 4 seems like a game-winning plan against not combo decks, against regular decks, mid-range decks like Eldrazi. So let's go to our next match. Okay, round 3, we are on the play. Yeah, this feels good. Let's keep this. We have double Loam, we don't need it. So the second Loam is the expendable card here. But having 3 lands, including 2 turn 1 enablers and 1 Cephalic Elysium, it's definitely what we want. So we will start with Misty, cracking it for a Watery Grave. Untapped. And we are already losing. Let's cast Thumbscour, meeting 5 cards. We have 1 Dredger, okay. Could be better, but could be also worse. We already have a Press Amalgam there, and 7 cards to crack Cephalic Elysium on turn 2, and then rebuild on turn 3 with Loam plus Shriekhorn. My opponent plays Marsh Flats, cracks it for a basic Swamp. Bubble, cracks it. A Grief, okay, so bye-bye Shriekhorn, and maybe a Loam. So this is Scam, maybe Mono Black Scam. They can have Doughty Voidwalker. I'm not sure if this is their game plan on game 1, but it is definitely after sideboarding. Yeah? The good news is that now we'll have 2 Dredge cards, so we have guaranteed chances of chaining Dredgers, at least 2 Dredgers this turn. Let's Dredge. Okay. To be honest, I'm not even sure if I will crack Cephalic Elysium yet. This is probably the best play, but we have only a Life from the Loam there. Instead, we can cast Life from the Loam, taking 2 Cephalic Elysiums there. Do my opponent play with Doughty now? Okay, let's try to hit our bigger plays here. Let's dredge 3. Yeah, only an Narcomoeba, but that's fine. We'll discard 3 Dredgers. At least we will have some aggression, and next turn we can rebuild for turn 4. Considering that we are playing against Scam, this is a good start. Where's a Saga? So no Doughty Voidwalker. In Legacy, there are many decks with playing Doughty Voidwalker in the main board, but maybe this is not true in Modern. Maybe in Modern, Doughty is more of a sideboard card. What is my opponent waiting for? Okay, my opponent plays Orcish Bowmasters. It seems a lot like Legacy right now. And it's our turn. We will dredge 5. Okay, we have many dredgers there. Let's see, what we have 2 Watery Graves. We still have a Breeding Pool. So let's take it. Or maybe a basic island. Yeah, we still have a basic island. Let's take it now. And then I will cast Otherworldly Gaze instead of Loam. Yeah, we will have Ideas Unbound for next turn. And that's it. Do I attack here? Am I the aggressor? Yeah, let's trust our deck. Now it's my opponent's turn. The wreck. Okay, the wreck will not hit me this turn. Another Goif. We will draw, and let's cast Ideas Unbound immediately. We will dredge 5, 5, and 5 again. Okay, 3 Creeping Chills are great hits. And we will have many creatures at the end of this turn. Let's play Breeding Pool tapped. And now we'll pass the turn because my opponent has a great blocker. We need to discard 3 cards. We discard you, and you. And we can pass here. Okay, my opponent search for a Spell Bomb. This is good against us. So Spell Bomb in the main deck. And a Boggart Trawler. Okay, this is the nail in the coffin. We'll probably lose from here. Yeah, where's the Saga? Going for Graveyard Hate. This obviously works. We'll take this hit. And we'll draw a land. Yeah, we will not win this, unfortunately. And this is a situation where Leyline of Sanctity would be really good, right? Because my opponent's Graveyard Hate targets. So it will be tough. It will be tough. Flare of Denial or Grief. It's hard to include Flare of Denial against a Thoughtseize deck, a Grief deck. So let's only include Grief. And then take 1 Ideas Unbound, 1 Shriekhorn, and 2 Ghosts. And that's it. So yes, I would like to play first. Again, this is good. If I start with Cephalic Coliseum, Otherworldly Gaze trying to hit my second land, and then Tomscour plus Shriekhorn on turn 2, if my opponent has a Scam package, I will lose some part of it, but I still think this is good. My opponent is going to 6. Of course, my opponent, knowing that I'm a Dredge player, they will mulligan trying to hit one of their multiple hate spells. This is probably one of our worst matchups, because my opponent has Graveyard Hate in their main deck. So we'll start with Otherworldly Gaze. No land. So let's put everything into our graveyard and pass turn. Basic Swamp and Soul Guide Lantern. Okay, it could be worse. So they have Lantern, Spell Bomb, Trawler, and this doesn't target a player. So Leyline of Sanctity from the sideboard would be nothing against this card. Let's put Shriekhorn into play. If we hit a single Narcomoeba, will be enough to make my opponent crack this. Okay, our third Prize Amalgam, and now we will probably lose, right? Unless my opponent has nothing else. This is probably not our best match. And a Doubt Voidwalker. Okay, let's concede here and save some time. Let's play something that we can win. This is probably our worst combination of cards from the other side. Multiple Graveyard Hate. Let's go to our next match. We are on the play, and yeah, this is a keep. Not the best keep, but it is a keep, right? Do we try to hit something more than that? Because this is a great mulligan to 4. Let's try to hit something better on the play. Yeah, this is better. Alright. Mulligan skills. We'll keep this, putting Creeping Chill back in our deck. And we'll start with Polluted Delta, cracking it for Breeding Pool, untapped. And now, I think I will start with Otherworldly Gaze here, because if we hit our third land, that would be great. Alright, so let's put this and this into the graveyard, and let's keep the land on top. It will be probably the same with Shriekhorn, but we'll be tempted to activate Shriekhorn again in our upkeep. And doing that, we will guarantee our second land. Eldrazi again. So let's draw our land. Let's play it. I think we'll play this tapped, so we can play Shriekhorn and activate once. Okay, nothing good yet, but on our next upkeep we can do both. We can activate Shriekhorn and cast Otherworldly Gaze. Tapped land for our opponent. Let's activate Shriekhorn first. Okay, and now we'll cast Otherworldly Gaze. Come on, Dredgers. Okay, we have a Dredger and we have a Tomscour. So let's put you into my graveyard, you, and let's keep Tomscour. This is a slow start, but hopefully it will be good enough. So let's cast Tomscour. Okay, unfortunately our goals are on our hand, but we cannot complain. We will have 3 creatures after this turn. And we will pass the turn. Next turn we can activate Shriekhorn and Cephalic Coliseum. Okay, my opponent plays a second Eldrazi Temple. They can cast some Eldrazi that costs 5, or a Thought-Knot Seer. Yeah, you can exile one of my goals. And now we will dredge 5, nothing. We will tap Shriekhorn, okay. And now we will crack our Cephalic Coliseum. Dredge 5 again. Okay, we have goals. Let's dredge 5 again. We'll discard Go, Dredger, and Dredger. We can order those triggers. Yes, I would like to have Narcomoeba and all of my goals. I can attack dealing... Well, we can attack with everyone because we'll have other creatures coming back. And let's see if this is too much for our opponent or if they have something to destroy our army. Zombie army, illusion army. Can you deal with this opponent? No, they don't. We won the game. Let's sideboard. So Gemstone Caverns instead of basic island and 2 fetches. And 4 grief instead of 1 goal, 1 Ideas Unbound, 2 goals, 1 Shriekhorn. Yeah, maybe 2 Shriekhorns instead of 2 goals. Yeah, let's try like that. And this is because I feel like we will not mulligan until we find necessarily a combination of 2 and 3 or 3 turn 1 enablers. We want to have a combination of enablers and answers. This is almost good. My opponent kept 7, so let's mulligan. This is not good, of course, mulligan. Okay, this is our best hand, we'll keep. We want double land, Scour, Otherworldly Gaze, and 1 card to be exiled to Gemstone Caverns. So let's put you and you. Yeah, my opponent has a Devourer of Destiny. Devourer of Destiny, okay. And we have Gemstone Caverns, exiling Creeping Chill. My opponent will scry 4, but exiling 3 cards. Alright, and plays a Eldrazi Temple. We will not stop on their end step. We'll stop on their second main to cast Otherworldly Gaze. Alright, I think we'll keep Cephalic Coliseum on top. Creeping Chill is doing their job. Let's draw Cephalic Coliseum. And now we will play Misty. Let's crack Misty for a Breeding Pool. Untapped. And I will cast Otherworldly Gaze instead of Thumbscour because next turn we can activate Thumbscour and Cephalic Coliseum. Unless my opponent has a Thought-Knot Seer. They can have, right? Well, I still manipulate the top of my deck. I think this is... Okay, we'll put everything into our graveyard. This way we'll have access to our best play. And if my opponent has a Thought-Knot Seer, they have it. And considering what we saw against Eldrazi 2 matches ago, having Life from Below next turn is probably a must, right? Because they can soon start exiling our lands. So maybe it is better to have some insurance against that instead of cracking Cephalic Coliseum immediately. Let's see what will Dredge. My opponent may have a Trinisphere, but they cannot cast Trinisphere with double Eldrazi Temple. Okay, they pass. So let's Dredge 3. Alright, and let's play Cephalic Coliseum and cast Life from the Loam, taking... Oh, let's first cast Thumbscour. Okay, now we'll have 3 lands. So Cephalic Coliseum, Breeding Pool, and Fetch Land. So now if my opponent tries to see my hand, exiling my lands, this will be not good enough. They may have Endurance or something like that. This is a possibility. I'm not sure if people are trying new things, new sideboard cards for their new decks after Modern Horizons 3. This is a possibility. They will play some Eldrazi with Flash. Oh, Kozilek's Command. Exiling 2 cards from my graveyard. 2 threats. Alright. Okay, my opponent's trying to do this just to ramp. And now we'll pass the turn. We can pass their turn too. They play Wastes. Chalice for 1. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. We'll Dredge... Yeah, now we don't need to Dredge Loam now anymore. So Dredge 5. Let's crack double Cephalic Coliseum, trying to win the game. So the first one, we'll Dredge 5, 5 again, and 4. We'll discard you, you, and you. And before this trigger resolves, let's crack our second Cephalic Coliseum. And this is turn 3. And we will Dredge 5, 5, and 5. We can discard probably you, yeah. Maybe we can cast Sync with Imp next turn. And we can pass the turn here, letting all of our triggers resolve. This is so much easier on Magic Online than on paper. I can imagine the nightmare that is playing with this in paper. So many triggers. Because Prize Amalgams will trigger many times. Of course you can ignore some of those triggers, but yeah. Let's see if my opponent can deal with this. Maybe they have something to do with colored permanents. Okay, only Devourer of Destiny. Exiling a goal. Let's see, how many chills we have? 1, 2, 3, we still have 1 chill. Is this enough to win the game? Yeah, it is. It is enough. It is enough to win the game, and my opponent knows it and concedes. Alright, we are 3-1. Let's go to our last match. Final round, and we are playing on the draw. Okay, this is a great keep. We have turn 1 enablers, turn 2, turn 3, and Turn 4. Yeah, this is a good game. So let's see if my opponent is faster than that. It is possible. Darkstick Shores. This is a combo deck. So now it's our turn. Okay, we even have our third land. So let's play Breeding Pool, untapped, and Shriekhorn. If my opponent has a counter spell, maybe. Consider. You can consider. Okay, they kept a card on top, and we'll activate Shriekhorn right now. Okay, no dredgers yet. Let's pass a turn. Basic island. And pass a turn. So on our upkeep, let's activate Shriekhorn again. Only lands, so we'll draw a Dredger. Okay, I can cast Shriekhorn right now, or I can cast Life from the Loam. Which one is better? Life from the Loam will give me many lands, and will guarantee my Dredger for next turn, and then I will crack the Cephalic Coliseum and activate double Shriekhorns. If I only play one Shriekhorn right now, I will... Yeah, I think it's better to just Loam here. Yeah, so let's play Watery Grave, paying life, and let's take 3 lands for us. Let's guarantee that. And if this works, we'll even discard a Dredger. Okay, my opponent has a spell now, Snare. But that's fine. We will have... This is even better, because we don't need those lands. And now we will guarantee our threshold to activate Cephalic Coliseum. My opponent casts Preordain. So this is a control deck, maybe? For the Strand and pass. So let's activate Shriekhorn, because maybe we'll have a better Dredger than Loam. No, we don't. So let's cast Life from the Loam. Creeping Chill. Okay, we will not do anything in response to that. And we still don't have Dredgers there. So let's cast Life from the Loam again. Selecting 3 lands. Let's see if this will resolve this time. The answer is no. We will not pay for that, but we will have a Dredger now. And now we'll play Cephalic Coliseum and other Shriekhorn. Will my opponent counter that? Maybe? No, just a Surveil land. And we'll activate. Why not? Okay. Nothing that good, but we are reaching the point soon. Okay? Just controlling the game. Let's activate our Shriekhorn, Narcomoeba, and Prize Amalgam. That's great. And we will dredge now. Okay. We still don't have other dredgers there. That's so bad. And my opponent will counter anything that we do here, right? So we can probably still try to cast this Life from the Loam. Let's see how many counter spells my opponent will have. Now it's a Force of Negation. That's a good one. So let's attack. Oh yes, let's attack. Let's just pass the turn, because the Narcomoeba don't have haste, of course. Okay, Psychic Frog. And that's it. So now it's our turn. We will activate Shriekhorn, our last one. Finally, a goal. Do we cast Otherworldly Gaze? You know what? Let's activate Cephalic Coliseum. That's enough. Let's guarantee that we will resolve something. And we even draw our other Cephalic Coliseum. So let's discard you, and Creeping Chill. And now we will dredge 5. Let's attack first. We even attack with Narcomoeba, because my opponent will probably discard many cards here. Oh no, they don't. They will cast an Orcish Bowmasters. That's fine. Now what? Do we force my opponent to just discard cards here? I think we do. Let's see if they want to discard both cards. Yeah, they do want. Subtlety and Spell Snare. Okay, so anything we do now will resolve. Unfortunately, we have only one Dredger on our graveyard, so this Ideas Unbound can fire back because of Orcish Bowmasters. But our life total is so... Okay, my opponent concedes just saying the Cephalic Coliseum possibility. Alright, so we won our first game, and I'm not sure about what this opponent will bring, but Grief is probably good against a counterspell deck. And let's take you. I feel like I'm always including Grief, right? This is always a good card to include against plethora of decks. Okay, Ideas Unbound. Let's keep our threats. And that's it. Okay, this seems good enough. Not the perfect hand, but good enough to keep. So the Strength and pass. We draw. Good card, please. Enabler. Not that great, but that's okay. Let's cast Grief first. It resolves. Let's see what our opponent is hiding. Consider Preordain, and double Counterspell. Let's take Spell Pierce, because now we can resolve Otherworldly Gaze. Guaranteed. A Breeding Pool, untapped, and let's cast Otherworldly Gaze right now. Of course, my opponent can try a Force of Negation here. No? Alright, and we hit. Good cards. I will not keep Cephalic Coliseum. We have 2 more. My opponent don't have their second land, so this is a risky keep. Of course, they have Consider and Preordain. They will find it, right? Watery Grave and Consider. Oh, they have Harbinger of the Seas. So let's crack those Cephalic Coliseums ASAP. Preordain. So maybe they don't have their second land. They don't. All right. Let's do it. Dredge 5. Double Creeping Chill is amazing. But no other dredgers. Let's play the Cephalic Coliseum here. And I think I will not crack it. I will just cash this Otherworldly Gaze. Oh, Force of Negation for my opponent. Okay. And let's attack. Let's see now if now my opponent has something. Because they're preordain. No lands. Okay, they finally found a land. It's our time to... Okay, now I think I will draw. And we cannot activate this. We don't have... this was a bad play. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze right now. Let's see if this resolves. Will not resolve. Come on, deck. Come on, deck. Okay, my opponent has a Spell Pierce. So I was too excited, but maybe this is just a succession of mistakes. Let's think better. My opponent can play their Archish Bowmasters or Murktide. Yeah, it is a Murktide Regent. And we cannot do anything here. We don't have black mana. We'll try to block. It's everything we can do. Yeah, I was too excited to win. And then suddenly I'm losing. Alright, let's draw. This is a great draw. This is a great draw. But I cannot get too excited here because my opponent will probably tap for Archish Bowmasters and then I'll cast my Otherworldly Gaze. We need to find dredgers. Alright. Dredgers? Yes. And now Cephalic Coliseum. Dredge 5. Dredge 4. And now other dredgers. One Tom Scour is great. We don't need to discard ghouls, so let's just discard dredgers. And that's it. And another Narcomoeba is great. Because now we will guarantee a blocker unless my opponent has a second Archish Bowmasters. Yes, I would like to gain 8 life. Please. Emio. And now it's our turn. We will dredge 5. We have an Narcomoeba. With this trigger on the stack, let's crack Cephalic Coliseum. Cephalic Coliseum is so good. And we'll dredge 5. We'll dredge 5 again. And we can dredge 5 again. This time we'll discard Go, and Dredger. And Creepy Chill, it's a great card. Narcomoeba is also a great card. We will have 3 Prized Amalgams and 2 ghouls at the end of this turn. And I will pass a turn attacking with my Prized Amalgam, of course. My opponent will probably block now. They need to block, right? I don't know whatever they have in their hand, but yeah, they need to block. And now we'll have 5 creatures coming back with 21 life. Let's see if my opponent can deal with this. They cannot! And we won the game. That's a great result for our first league with this new Sultai Dredge build. So let's analyze So let's do a quick review about our deck right now. So what we learned about Modern Dredge after this league, we learned that Ideas Unbound is actually amazing. It is an amazing card. And you know what? As a Legacy player, I wasn't sure that this card was legal in Modern. I don't remember seeing this card in Modern Dredge before this league. So yeah, this is a great inclusion to this build, since all of our lands can produce or can go after blue mana. So Ideas Unbound, I think this is a great inclusion, and it needs to be considered from now on, at least for me. Since we have 12 turn 1 enablers, maybe we can just go up to 4 Ideas Unbound as our turn 2 enabler / card selection of choice. Because Cephalic Coliseum is not always our best turn 2 move, especially if we still don't have at least 3 lands, including Cephalic Coliseum. So yeah, Ideas Unbound, it is a great card. The first comparison here is between Ideas Unbound and Deep Analysis. And Deep Analysis is not a card that I was... After my previous testing with the previous Modern Dredge, this list here, with 2 copies of Deep Analysis here, I tried 1, 2, and 3 copies. And every time I had Deep Analysis in my graveyard, I also had an opportunity to crack a Cephalic Coliseum or going to a Life from the Lawn plan, or maybe Deep Analysis just was revealed too late in the game. So it almost always a narrow card for me. You draw 2, but you cannot discard, so you cannot put your creatures like Prized Amalgam back into your graveyard. And in this build that we tested today, Ideas Unbound felt like Cephalic Coliseum's copies 5, 6, and 7. And that's why I'm feeling like we can even go up to 4 copies, maybe including a Surveil land, and take 1 Shriekhorn out from the deck, because it is our worst enabler, I think. Having the card selection of Otherworldly Gaze is amazing. And yeah, that's it. I'm convinced that this was a good idea. Ideas Unbound, huh? Who knew? Did you know that Ideas Unbound is actually legal in Modern? You know, before building this today, especially for this video, I had this idea, but I felt like is Ideas Unbound legal in Modern, because I don't remember seeing Ideas Unbound in a dredge deck before. So yeah, maybe this was a first and a good addition to our deck, especially in this build, because 2 blue mana is not easy to achieve in other builds of dredge. So what about our sideboard? Flare of Denial, I'm not convinced. We didn't have a chance to use this card. Of course, it can be good, but many times we want to counter an endurance that my opponent will cast before we have a blue card, a blue creature. So I'm not sure if Flare of Denial is good. Maybe we can just change these 4 copies of Flare of Denial to include 4 Thought Seizes and go up to 8 discard effects for Griffin, 4 Thought Seizes. I'm not sure. Or maybe 4 removal spells instead of 4 bounce spells. The sideboard is a little bit tricky. Gemstone Caverns is good as always. So every time we had the Gemstone Caverns in our starting hand, it felt good. It almost makes me wonder if a 4th copy is something interesting to include here. It's just sometimes we lack space in our sideboard. And talking about Wonder, I wonder if Wonder is good. We had some opportunities here in this league, doing our best against Eldrazi and other decks. Maybe Wonder is a good inclusion after all. It's just that in my previous test with Modern Dredge, this Wonder was almost never necessary. It was almost never a good card to include. We didn't have some opportunities to use. But if the metagame evolves to an Eldrazi and aggro deck with many blockers, I'm not sure this is a good card. Maybe we can just re-include 1 or even 2 copies of Wonder in our sideboard. And that's it. Let me know what you thought about this this new build of Dredge in Modern. I'm new to the format, but I'm enjoying it a lot. You know, Legacy players sometimes think that Modern will not be a fun format because we don't have our goodies, we don't have Golgari Griffjaw, we don't have Faithless Looting, we don't have Careful Study, we don't have Bridge from Below, Hogak. All of those cards are banned. Careful Study is not banned because it wasn't printed yet, but we hope, we have hopes, maybe in the future. So yeah, it was a fun league, and I'm having fun testing Dredge in Modern. I hope you too. So click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below, and let's see you again, and let's dredge on our next video. Bye.